In what is going to be elections in the largest state south of India, that is Karnataka, we bring you what can be termed as a very mature and accurate projection made by TV9 Kannada and C-Voter about elections in Karnataka which are due on the 10th of May and the results of which will be declared 3 days later, that being 13th of May. So, what are the major takeaways that we have? It seems, and this is gender fluid, as in cutting across all genders, male and female, they predict that there could be a victory for the Indian National Congress, that is the Congress party. What has worked in their favors? Freebies, I mean like Yuva Jyoti, giving also free power supply, also giving money to the head of the family but female. All the other things that have not worked for the BJP, one of the things is that they feel that the double engine Sarkar, which is propagated all across the country, has really not yielded the results that they were expecting, but Narendra Modi happens to still be the most popular face and cuts across all regions in Karnataka. But there is more. Region wise, who's winning, why, and why is it that certain regions which were in controversy or made headlines, things really haven't changed that much. Let's deep dive into the discussion. In the studio, my colleagues Kartikeya Sharma and also Brijesh Pandey are joining me, and we are also being joined by Dr. Baswaraj Itnal, very well known political analyst who is right now live with us on the show. First across, I think, to both of you, Kartikeya, somehow I felt that when I was looking at it, of course, we are not going to punt. We never punt on elections. That's one thing that we've all discussed, or, give accurate projections. But do you think that it's a very predictable change? There is a change, but do you think it's a very predictable change? And when we analyze this, let's say during the next elections, it's not going to be something which is going to have the, oh God, really factor. Do you think that's how you look at it, or you don't?
I think the election is going on a very predictable mode. One that everyone knows that Karnataka has the capacity to create an exceptional result, which means it can go against the national trend. So I will not be surprised if Congress is voted to power, because nationally BJP holds sway. So it can go against the national trend. Secondly, I would say that the power of the data, or the C-Voter Kannada data shows that the Congress party has an upper hand. One. Secondly, women and men together, they would like to vote the Congress party back to power. That's the data which is suggesting. And third and the foremost, Congress seems to be doing well in most of the cultural zones of Karnataka, barring one or two. Congress has consolidated itself now. The bigger question is, will this be a fragile victory, which this poll data shows, or is it going to be like Chhattisgarh? Is it going to be on the Madhya Pradesh model, where they fell short by a seat and then they got other independents, even Rajasthan, or will it be like Chhattisgarh, a complete majority, powerful majority, and a stable government?
Right. Brijesh, do you concur with what Kartikeya says? Because I somehow feel that yes, the projections, TV9 Kannada and C-Voter very clearly shows that the Congress does have an upper hand. But to say it's a fabulous, scintillating victory by numbers, by sheer numbers, do you somehow feel, first glance at the numbers, it almost seems that they have reverse the numbers. I mean, you got 80 odd last time and I will get it this time. You got 100 odd last time and I will get it this time. Do you think something like that is happening, or do you think it's going to be a decisive victory for the Congress?
I personally feel that it's going to be a decisive victory for the Congress party. Right. The reason I say so is because chances of a hung assembly doesn't look like, going by the kind of coverage we've been doing for the last week, 10 days. See, the momentum seems to be in favor of the Congress party. The tall leaders, the people who have made a shift to the Congress party, or or the way the entire campaign has been run till now, that that there have been talks of internal fighting within the BJP, which is chances of which is very less in other parts of the country, right, compared to Congress, where the inner fighting has not till made a headline and all. And the Congress till now has run a very tight ship. vis-a-vis the BJP. The BJP is facing several kind of problems. Its tall leaders are making comments which is contrary to what you would hear in the rest of the country. The surprising thing is that what actually caught my attention was two things: a, shifting of Jagdish Shetar and one other tall Lingayat leader, Lakshman Savdi, and also the fact that that both Bomai and Yedurappa not willing to talk about an issue which was hot potato just 6 months back, which is hijab and halal and other issues.
Right.
They complete shying away, in fact blaming media for running this, clearly shows that their core issue or the issue they thought would reap them rich dividend is not working, and that is the reason why it is back to good governance and so on and so forth.
You've given me a good talking point for Dr. Basvaraj Itnal. Dr. Itnal, namaskara. I just want to ask you this, that for the longest time we now say that elections are about personalities. Oh, there is Abbas there. Hi Abbas, how are you doing? Good to see you. Namaskara. Abbas, tell me something. For the longest time we hear that no more are elections fought on issues, they are fought on personality. But this time around, what is considering that, like I said right at the beginning, this is a very mature, all-round kind of projections. We are not punting, these are just mere projections. But do you think somehow in Karnataka this time it's going to be very issue-based elections which is going to be fought, Abbas?
Well, absolutely, Sudhaji. And as a matter of fact, I completely agree with you. Many a times in Indian politics, we have seen populist faces which do make a difference, especially in the world of politics. And if you look down south, be it Karnataka, Telangana, Andhra to an extent, and Tamil Nadu as well. And now coming to the Karnataka Assembly elections, just about 15 odd days to go, you are absolutely right. To me, as a citizen of Kannada, India, person who belongs to this beautiful Kannada soil, it is indeed going to be issue-based. Because what do we see here over the last couple of years since BJP came into power and Bommai government was formed, we see Karnataka becoming a hotbed of a communal laboratory. What do we see? We see issues that don't matter, like halal, hijab, azan, loudspeaker, scrapping on Muslim reservation, but we don't see something well to do on the progress level. Like BJP has always speaking about Vikas. Where is Vikas in its truest sense today? Where is the development? Youth are still seeking for jobs. Still, there are many underprivileged children who are not provided with education. We're not looking at better hospitals, universities, roads. But Modi ji comes and half-cooked or half-baked policies or even metro lines are being inaugurated. Right. The fact of the matter today, there is a definite anti-incumbency coming through, due to which the Karnataka BJP government had to come into play with the scrapping of Muslim reservation. Now again coming something like that in Telangana, take away the 4% of the Muslim, give 2% to the Vakaliga, 2% to the Lingayat. Many a times the BJP, we see them blaming Congress for a certain Muslim appeasement. But isn't it appeasement when in the last 2 months of elections, you appease the Vakaliga and Lingayat vote bank, which is the largest vote bank constituting each other.
Right.
Also, as a matter of fact, yes, certainly, this is 100% issue-based election today. Because whoever comes into power, the people of Karnataka will hold them responsible.
Right. Okay, Abbas, I mean, that's a good, solid opening comment that you made. Dr. Basvaraj Itnal has also joined us. Dr. Itnal, good to have you on the show. Dr. Itnal, tell me something. It is said the more things change, the more they remain same. Let's look at, so far as the old Mysuru region is concerned, and according to these projections made by TV9 Kannada and C-Voter, they say that it is still the bastion of the JDS. I mean, considering it's the bastion of the Vakaligas. But do you think, I want another opinion, because that's what makes a debate very interesting. Do you think that because of the internecine warfare amongst the Gowda family, the unsurety of who's going to stand, who's sulking, who's not, it's not going to be the gospel truth, as it were?
No, whatever are the problems in the Gowda family, none of the parties who are part of this internecine fights, so to say, none of the parties would openly work or even implicitly work against the party. It is even in JDS also, it is known to be the palace politics. That's all there is to it. That doesn't spill out into the party. That has never happened so far. Number one. Number two, whatever is the projections that we're seeing in the Old Mess region seems to be more or less in the lines the way it was. So it had been a three-way fight here always between Congress, JDS and BJP with advantage JDS. That had been the political history here. But
Right.
the major differences, major dramatic differences, you will be able to see in North Karnataka region, especially Kittur Karnataka and Kalyan Karnataka.
Right.
That's where a lot of things are going to change, if at all.
Right. Also, Yashwant Deshmukh has joined us of C-Voter and the other half of TV9 Kannada for these projections, so far as the projections are concerned. Mr. Deshmukh, welcome to the show. I just wanted to ask you, we tried to decode the entire data that has been sent. We spent a lot of time on it. According to you, what are those three major takeaways when you look at it this time around?
First major takeaway is that it has to be read as a routine anti-incumbency sentiment, which is an election for the Congress to lose if they just play in a very traditional classical form of not deviating their narrative or election campaign at the national level and keep it local. They should be home dry. That's the first takeaway. Second, many people might be saying that Mr. Bommai as the chief minister did not deliver or something. I don't agree to that assessment. I genuinely feel that he might might be in future as an asset to the BJP. Just that it's wrong to expect him to fill in the shoes of Mr. Yediyurappa. It's too big a vacuum to fill up.
Right.
So, this mandate should, or anything that is not going the BJP way, should not be read as a thing which is against the chief minister per se. Third thing, and most importantly,
Right.
Mr. Modi himself, his campaign is yet to start, that which is still to start, and we need to see what kind of impact that has. But having said that, I have seen in the past in many other state elections as well, the efforts of Mr. Modi, which he puts in, he invests in, many times voters keep that dividend for the Lok Sabha elections.
Right.
It's like a kind of a debenture which gets converted into share when the Lok Sabha elections come. So
Right.
at this point of time, his campaign is yet to unfold, yet to start. He will make an impact, but that impact, if not in this election, is certainly to be, it's going to be evident 12 months down the lane.
Mr. Deshmukh, Kartikeya from the studio. Can you please take us through the Bengaluru and the greater Bengaluru? How do you expect the greater Bengaluru region to vote? It's in condensed area. Any political party doing well, like Maharashtra and Mumbai, gets away with a lot of seats. So what's your larger assessment? Were the civic issues in sway? What happened? Like, for example, Tejasvi Surya is not in the star, he's not one of the star pracharaks. Can you take us through the data which has been harnessed from the greater Bengaluru?
Yeah, sure. Basically in greater Bengaluru region, if the local, you can treat it as a more of a local body election as far as the public sentiment is concerned. The civic infrastructure or the lack of it, if I may say so, or the other, incumbency that is setting in or seeping in against the corporators to the MLAs to MPs. If you look into the three layers of governance in Bengaluru, you will realize that all three layers are right now with the BJP, directly or indirectly, and that is kind of setting up a triple layers of anti-incumbency sentiment as well. So basically, it's difficult for BJP to blame somebody else for any problem that Bengaluru voter is facing at this point of time. So unless there is a chamatkar of sorts that that people of Bengaluru say that okay, Prime Minister is here, and at the end of the day, even last time we voted in the name of the Prime Minister, why not do it again? And go for the double engine sarkar, and what if you get another government and the Bengaluru infrastructure projects, they go down the drain, something of that sort. Unless that kind of sentiment creeps in, I think greater Bengaluru region is going to see largely a bipolar contest, barring 4 or 5 seats where JDS is also an important player in that region, particularly in the outskirts of the Bengaluru, and the seats which are pretty much adjoining the old Mysuru region. There are about 3-4 seats where JDS is going to get attraction. Otherwise, in rest of the seats is going to be a bipolar between the BJP and the Congress and Greater Bengaluru. And as the moment the data shows, there is a traction for the Congress in the Greater Bengaluru.
Mr. Deshmukh, Brijesh Pandey from the studio. I just wanted to ask you a question about, the controversial issue of hijab. We saw it dominating national space for the last almost a year, close to a year. But of late, the BJP is not willing to talk about it, as if, it's some alien concept in their lexicon. What exactly led to this dropping of hijab? Do you think it is finding resonance on the ground, or it is not finding that kind of resonance? That is the reason why we see Basavaraj Bommai as well as, Yedurappa completely trying to distance themselves from this issue and, in fact, trying to blame media for picking it.
Well, the issue has a resonance, but in a particular demography and a particular region. The coastal Karnataka region, which has been the laboratory of Hindutva for the BJP and a stronghold of the BJP for so long, it is still, even in this survey, you can see very clearly that region is so strongly behind the BJP. The problem with the issue of polarization, issue of jihad, issue of everything related to ranging from love jihad to niqab and everything in between, there is a limit to what it can deliver. It is not going to increase the number of seats in coastal Karnataka, because that's the number of seats that is in coastal Karnataka. You cannot get more than 21 seats, because that's the total number of seats over there. And that issue outside that region of coastal Karnataka is not that kind of critical or that kind of important, let me put it this way, there are issues and then there are electoral issues, So from the electoral issues perspective, it's jazzy, it's the bread and butter of the right-wing side of the campaign. But unfortunately for them, the demographic dividend for this particular kind of for campaign is not actually evenly spread across Karnataka. It is very much localized as far as Karnataka demography is concerned and the impact of this issue is concerned. So they are going to sweep the coastal Karnataka region for sure. They are going to sweep it again. They have been sweeping it early, but these issues are unlikely to give much of a dividend as such in remaining regions of Karnataka.
The other interesting thing, Mr. Deshmukh, I wanted to ask you is that somehow this survey is kind of gender fluid. It is very surprising that almost equal number of men and women have, they speak about their preference that the Congress may perhaps come back. What do you think is the reason? Is it anti-incumbency? Is it that let's try someone else? Or is it the freebies that have been promised by the Congress, Yuva Nidhi and all those freebies that have been announced for the youth, for the female head of the family? This kind of almost equanimity when it comes to both men and women. And that's a very interesting aspect as well.
That's a brilliant question, because I also observe these data points, on the same lines. And we realize that the gender gap in voting in favor of the BJP particularly was pretty much evident when we were looking into states where the Labharti Yojana, all those kind of things had a great impact. For example, in UP, in Uttarakhand, for that matter, these were the areas where the ration scheme and other things, the toilets and everything, they had a greater impact because of the baseline was quite lower. As far as the economics is concerned, as far as the overall, overall developmental index is concerned. So these things do matter, no doubt about that. And even in Karnataka, you will see that these things will matter in many of the regions which are not as developed as the Greater Bengaluru and other richer areas. There you might see a kind of deviation over there, but largely speaking, yes, you are absolutely bang on that the emotion of anti-incumbency probably has an equal taker in both the gender classes. Number one. Number two, also that many of the schemes, many of the things which the BJP has given or done, people are now taking them for granted. They are looking for the new things. Congress has kind of outdone itself than in promising all many things. So those things do work cumulatively speaking.
Right.
But let's face it this way, that history of Karnataka elections has shown no party has actually repeated the mandate in the in the last 2 or 3
True.
decades for sure. So it's also normal and natural for the routine incumbency sentiment to set in. The only or only ace in the pack or only outlier in this entire equationing is the campaign of Prime Minister Modi, and
Yes.
that is still unpacked. We know it has an impact. We know it will have an impact, but to what extent, that remains to be seen. And also that whether people who are thronging his rallies are kind of reserving their support for Mr. Modi 12 years down the lane, or they want to continue the support even at the local level.
Right. So like we say, picture abhi baki hai. That's because
picture abhi
Modi
baki, because I think a lot of trends can be broken. For example, people used to say that the no government is repeated in Uttarakhand,
Yeah.
but BJP repeated itself in Uttarakhand.
There you are.
Himachal Pradesh, well, Congress came to power. I think the trends change over a period of time. But if you ask me what is important is the stakes. Stakes for the Congress party are too high in Karnataka, because if Congress is able to win Karnataka, then it's ready to give a fight in the 3 states of Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. For BJP, it is also equally important. BJP
is.
cannot say that we can do away with the state, because
the only state in South.
South India, because you don't have Tamil
Absolutely.
Nadu, you don't have
Kerala,
you don't have Telangana, you don't
Andhra.
have Andhra Pradesh.
Yes.
So if you don't have Karnataka, it is going to directly impinge on the work they are planning to do in Telangana.
That's right. Very much so, because a lot of them, a lot of things are being, you recently heard what Amit Shah said in Telangana, which pretty much what he repeated in Karnataka, and you're absolutely right. It's something, it's a crowning glory for them,
And
Karnataka.
secondly, Sudha, other panelists will be able to join. Before today's hold by the Supreme Court, yesterday, all senior BJP leaders said that the election in Karnataka is Modi versus appeasement. They had decided that this is the ultimate pull. Now, Congress has gone on the Labharti track, and our data is showing that Labharti track is working very well.
It is.
So, I don't know, maybe is Karnataka going the Himachal way?
Well, I think it worked for Congress in Himachal, and also, one thing I completely agree with what Yashwant was saying is that the Prime Minister's rally, he still remains the biggest draw as far as the BJP is concerned. He is the catalyst which has catapulted BJP into another orbit altogether, and then there's nobody, from 1 to 10, he's there, and the rest of the leaders start from 11 onwards.
So things may change, is what you're saying,
I know. What I'm trying to say is that, it is not necessarily that in assembly election, the impact of the Prime Minister's rally may be that much. And we have examples galore of it not working for the BJP. We have example of, Himachal Pradesh, we have example of West Bengal, where, the Prime Minister went, the entire might of the government was there, cabinet ministers were stationed there. And it didn't work out for the people. So, and I think, one of the other thing is that the condition of the BJP, which we are discussing it issue-wise. But if you look at the kind of unit which is the Karnataka BJP, I doubt, if it has been more fractured before. Leaders are not very happy.
Right.
There's a new satrap in the town. There's massive factionalism also within the party.
Right.
So these are the things which are not making it a very smooth sail
Perhaps
for
the
the BJP.
only state, Sudha, where people from BJP have quit and joined the Congress party.
Absolutely, which is like unimaginable in the Modi era, if
Neta
I may say.
Neta bhi gaya, Karyakarta bhi gaya.
Karyakarta bhi gaya. Let me bring in Dr. Baswaraj Itnal. Dr. Baswaraj Itnal, any reactions on what Yashwant Deshmukh was saying, or do you have something else to say, or maybe I can ask you a fresh question, Dr. Itnal?
Yeah, couple of observations first.
Please go ahead. Yes, sir.
One thing is that I'm assuming that this data was collected after the nominations were filed, or at least after the Shettar and Saudi and all these people, migrated to Congress.
Yes.
I'm assuming that. Okay. And another thing about Bangalore data, Yashwant was mentioning, the biggest problem in Bangalore today is, he said one thing, that it's more like a local body elections here. But local body had not any elections in last 4 years. Through the entire Boma era, BBMP, they did
BBMP, yes,
elections.
that's true. That's right. Yeah.
They were conducted. So there is a lot of tension there as well. There is absolutely no reason to postpone a civic board election, that too for a metropolitan region like Bangalore, for 4 years. So that is some disgruntled disgruntled feelings would be there on that regard.
Which
And
will be
again,
advantage Congress, Dr. Itnal, because you and I have spoken a lot
yes,
about
yes.
killer potholes, about
Yes,
corruption
yes.
all the time, about how Bengaluru people do not know where to go. So many deaths during the rainy season. So it will be advantage.
More importantly, civic body should be having a civic government, not an administrative
Absolutely, yes.
setup. So that is, as long as you do not have a representatives, it is very difficult to get your complaints resolved through officialdom. Okay, so that way there is some sentiment, some anti-government sentiment there. So there would be a pro-Congress sentiment that would work. And another thing is, first of all, Bangalore turnout is very low. Bangalore turnout is never, it has never crossed 50% in last probably 20 years of elections. So
Okay.
that lower turnout again would reflect in a very mixed way. Loyal urban voter is, we used to say, generally not pro BJP, because BJP is supposed to be a middle class party. So middle class doesn't go out voting. But it is changing now. In last two
Right.
elections, I observed a lot of urban middle class is showing interest, while the traditional vote bank of Congress remains. So that would result in a very delicate balance of power here.
Right.
Number two, coming to the general observations about what happens to Karnataka, I guess all these communally sensitive issues like halal and hijab and even Muslim reservation quota being scrapped, all these were done consciously to divert the attention from developmental agenda in which the Bommai government has failed. They wanted to go to elections on a sentimental issue, on a religious, on Hindutva issues, on communal issues, which seem to be working against them right now. It doesn't seem to be working as much as they think. Then there is the internal challenge of Lingayats.
Right. That's what
This
I
all
wanted
starts-
to. Yeah, Dr.
This
Itnal.
all starts when one seater says that Lingayats should not be taken as seriously.
Yeah,
mean,
but
Lingayats
it's a
took
very,
serious-
I mean, if you look at it, the impact of the Lingayats and the L word, as it were, it is a very, very contentious issue during these elections. Both sides have spoken about it. Both want a share of that pie. If you look at it, sheer numbers, maybe you will not be astounded. It's not such a great number that you should be running after it. But the impact of the Lingayats, because for years and years, the impact that the Lingayats have had, and don't you think it's going to impact the BJP in a major way? And this is a question I would like Mr. Deshmukh also to please take. Mr. Mr. Deshmukh, the L word, as it were, after Shettar and Saudi, and the thing is that also what Siddaramaiah said about, most corrupt, and then he said, I meant Bommai, I did not mean Lingayat, etc., etc. Do you think, looking at the Lingayat vote bank and the Lingayat issue, are things going to change majorly, or they are only going to be a slight shift and not a tectonic shift?
The data shows that the Lingayats are pretty much rock solid behind the BJP. I don't think there is much of a difference or much of a change as far as those kind of equations are concerned. Vocaligas are pretty much behind
JDS, yeah.
JDS. Not exactly in the same way that 70-80 out of 100, by the way. There is a split. I understand. That's why the JDS stocks are not in the same league that they used to be 10 years down the backwards, But Lingayats are pretty much with the BJP. I don't see much of a dent out there. You see, I totally agree with other panelists on anti-incumbency and other sentiments. Yes, not conducting the local body elections has actually harmed the BJP in a big way, because if that would have happened, these kind of smaller elections, they work like what we call as particularly in the small town, safety valves in the pressure cooker, if I may say so.
Okay.
People anger with the smaller elections in the local body, they get whistled off. Right now, when every layer is being governed by you, you don't know where else you have to blame. That's a big thing. Second thing is,
55
with the Congress and the BJP, there is a one marked difference, not just in Karnataka, but it is evident across India. For the BJP, the local leadership is largely a liability and central leadership is an asset as far as the campaign and the impact is concerned. And for the Congress, it is just the other way around. Their local leadership, if they are left on their own, they are a brilliant strategy and brilliant performers. See, look what happened in Himachal Pradesh. They left it to within Himachal, 3 regional leaders. There are 3 regions that apna apna dekho. And look at the output, what happened over there. You know, and central leadership did not even go over there much. I mean, and Congress, local Congress leaders are saying, thank God they did not come. They managed to win. So I believe, and you know, with the example of Uttarakhand, we know Uttarakhand probably Congress would have won very easily if it was not for the central their leadership interference of taking Harish Rawat away and making him in charge of Punjab.
Right.
You know, there was I said this on numerous occasions कि उत्तराखंड में कांग्रेस की बाराती दूल्हा उन्होंने पंजाब में नाचने के लिए भेज रखा था. So I mean, with that kind of strategy, there was no way on earth that Congress would have won Uttarakhand. You know, but in Karnataka, they are somehow trying to walk the tight path, very tightrope, very nicely.
Right.
And the biggest issue for Karnataka or in favor of Congress.
But Mr. Deshmukh, sorry I am butting in, but Congress पे भी तो 2 दूल्हे हैं, उनका क्या होगा?
मैं बता रहा हूँ, मैं बिल्कुल एग्जैक्टली आप सही जगह पे आ गए. कांग्रेस में दूल्हे 2 नहीं है, कांग्रेस में दूल्हा केवल एक है, सिद्धारमैया. It is only and only his popularity that Congress is riding on the anti-incumbency wave. Take Siddaramaiah out of the equation and you will see the Congress situation probably worse than Gujarat in that way. You know, so what I'm simply trying to say that every anti-incumbency wave needs a fantastic, fabulous opposition phase to ride that wave, to serve that wave. In case of Siddaramaiah, Congress is lucky to have it. But if they decide to do what they did in Rajasthan at some point of time, let me tell you upfront, Siddaramaiah is no Sachin Pilot. I mean, that's as crystal clear we should be. And as far as the leadership ratings are concerned, yes, Mr.
Right.
D.K. Shivkumar is a great strategist. He is a great brain. He has the resources, everything. But in the public emotion, public sentiment, he is not the face. His popularity is not the thing which the Congress can ride and take, make benefit of this anti-incumbency sentiment at this point of time.
Okay, right. Brijesh, you know, when Yashwant Deshmukh ji started the conversation, he said Modi is still to go there and make his impact. But still the Congress will be on a safer wicket provided it does not do anything drastically wrong. Now, drastically wrong at this stage.
Basically, you meant Rahul Gandhi.
Is that what you meant, Mr. Deshmukh? Is what Kartikeya is saying, that you meant that let not Rahul go there and say something out of turn? Brijesh, you think so?
No, I don't think so. I think, you know, I mean, in this time, Siddaramaiah started the trend, you know, where he has to beat a hasty retreat and give explanation that he meant Bomai and not Lingayat leaders.
Yes.
I think that was a big faux pas. And coming
yes.
from Siddaramaiah, who, you know, as Yashwant saying, is the tallest leader as of now, the most popular one. So coming it from him, it's a very it could prove to be a very costly mistake. See, the thing is that you know, for the BJP right now, you know, they always bank on Prime Minister Narendra Modi. You know, you can talk of 50 scenarios which is working for the BJP. You know, the calling card is Prime Minister Narendra Modi from 2013 and when he was made the leader till this date. You know, elections after elections, we've seen how in Uttar Pradesh, you know, he's staying back when Varanasi, the last phase was there, catapulted BJP into another level and all. I honestly don't think that is going to work to that level, because, you know, he started by the most positive or the most right note in the election of Karnataka, you know, by holding hands with Mr. Yedurappa, according him the kind of treatment, which you reserve for the most respected and the elder one,
Yes.
getting him into the parliamentary board, which is the highest decision-making body of the BJP, being very effusive in your praise. But it has not gone down the way he would have had. There were talk about Yedurappa sulking, talk about Yedurappa not being that happy as he should have had been, and reports being published of how he was disgruntled or disillusioned with the way things were being run at the Deen Dayal Upadhyay. So there's a lot of factors which I had
But
worked.
they did a good cosmetic surgery because he was taken screaming. But the point is that they later did a salvage operation and they said that it is just that we almost margdarshak ki unko bhumika nibhani
They did, and the interesting
which is
thing
very
is
smart to do.
Interesting thing is that like in Himachal Pradesh, where one rebel candidate got a call from Prime Minister, he did not withdrew from the polls. Here Ishwarappa got a call.
Yes.
It was duly recorded. Congress said that it is all manufactured, this thing, and so on and so forth. But imagine for a person who has won maximum number of elections for a party, he's willing to put his own thing online just to make sure that he gets one guy back in his favor. Shows the kind of determined attitude of the party, which is out there to win election at any cost.
Yes,
that also
but it's a
speaks volumes
cadre-based
about
party, and that has always been the truth. Abbas is with us. Abbas, I want to ask you that this TV9 Kannada C-Voter projections also threw up one thing, which is somehow in Karnataka, the double engine ki sarkar, that whole concept is not really working for them. So the point is that it doesn't mean that we relegate it to the back burner. I mean, it may not work now, it may work, it's working in other, states, etc., etc. What do you think is the reason? And put on your cap like more as an analyst and not perhaps as somebody who tends to kind of, we all have our preferences. Someone who speaks for the Congress
Certainly,
party.
Sudhaji, I'll tell you. Why it hasn't really worked is because of the scams of the BJP. Being here in Bengaluru all my life, being a Kannadiga, I can tell you,
Yes.
two scams have hit them hard. One is the 40% Bhrash Sarkara, which the Congress has been claiming to, where the contractors, one of the contractor, suicide taking the name of KS Ishwarappa, the same person whom Modi ji gave a direct call to pacify him. Also, as a matter of fact, the Contractors Association, those who complained, wrote a letter to the Prime Minister, President. There are FIRs on all of them, cases filed against all of them. This shows that they are muzzling the voice of dissent. Not just that, also as a matter of fact, the PSI scam, the Police Sub-Inspector recruitment scam, which has been running into crores. Scams, frauds, commissions such as these will definitely make the voter of Bengaluru or even across Karnataka take a hit, because there have been several papers which have been leaked out. The participants who've got 3 marks, 4 marks have suddenly become eligible for the post of PSI, the direct round.
Right.
So this is definitely a question mark. Also, as a matter of fact, anti-incumbency does come into place. Many of the gentlemen on the panel have mentioned about this. We as voters of Bengaluru have been looking forward to the BBMP elections. The Bengaluru Bruhat Nagara Palike, that hasn't come through. So that is also a question mark where the voter wants to make a difference.
Right.
As a matter of fact, yes, many a times we've seen Karnataka, which has been voting. It's never the same party again. It has been the Congress, the BJP, the Congress, and of course, JDS Kumaraswamy playing the kingmaker as he gets lucky. There's a beautiful saying in Kannada, it doesn't matter BJP comes into power or Congress. CM to Kumaraswamy hi banega.
Oh, yeah, I know. That's a very famous Kannada saying.
Yes.
Let me, at this point, go to Professor Chambi Puranik, who's also joining us. Professor Puranik, welcome to the show. We are discussing the projections made by TV9 Kannada and C-Voter about the elections in Karnataka, of course. That's the obvious thing. I want to ask you, there is going to be change according to these projections, and these are just projections. The Congress is going to come back to power, and but let's not get into numbers. We're not going to put numbers to it. But my point is that if in coastal Karnataka the BJP will win, in old Mysuru region the JDS will win, in greater Bengaluru it is the Congress which will win. What do you think will actually shake up the BJP this time? What are those regions which are going to be the red rag to the bull, as it were, for the BJP in Karnataka, Professor?
BJP had an edge over Congress some 2-3 weeks back, when candidates list were being announced in installments. I think in the last 2-3 days, the developments that have shaken BJP, its confidence level or whatever, the kind of motivation they are trying to inject into the workers or party karyakartas. I think, the resignation of Jagdish Shettar and Lakshman Saudi and many others, including Ainur Manjunath Nishimoga. I think these are all factors which will definitely make voters to think why these people have been given a raw deal, and why not, come out with a different kind of criteria to respect the elders who have made the party to come to power for the last 30, 40 years. I think, that sentiment, you know that in Karnataka, I think, the people are very sensitive and also knowledgeable. So I agree with Asad partly that the kind of, lackluster leadership that GSM, Mr. Bombay, is projecting is not helping BJP to get that kind of support which was there last month. So I think in the present context,
Right.
corruption, of course, corruption charges, 40%, this and
Okay.
that, with others, Assad said also. I think it's not going to be a major factor because all parties are corrupt. If you show me one political party which is free from corruption, including the new AAP, which is promising a
Right.
kind of different performance in all that. So I think, corruption is known to people. What kind of next government, the people of Karnataka, as I've been repeatedly telling you in your channel, that they wanted a stable government, a government which could give good governance,
Right.
and get rid of this kind of whatever apathy that is there towards people, like voters
Right,
and all.
right.
So
On that,
many people I interacted last
All right.
2-3 days. Yeah, they tell me that, BJP has taken things for granted. We will not allow that to happen.
Right.
And also, you remember, nearly about 6 lakh new voters are there. And
Absolutely.
then the
Yeah,
total-
and the
total
tide may,
votes-
and like we always say that the tide may change. Professor Puranik, I'm so sorry, but I've completely run out of time. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast, and also thanks is due to Yashwant Deshmukh. Thank you so much, Kartikeya and Brajesh, for joining. You are watching projections made by TV9 Kannada and C-Voter. For all the news and analysis, keep watching News9 Live.